Hi, welcome to our virtual open house for WLTL radio production. My name is Chris Thomas and I'm the instructor for the course. I'm so glad you could check this video out tonight and learn a little bit about the class and a little bit about what your son or daughter will be doing in it this semester, and maybe get inspired to ask them some questions about what they're doing as well, because of course they're going to be working from home for first quarter. And as you'll see here throughout our presentation, working from home and radio right now is kind of becoming the norm. So you might get to see them in action, which is something in this class my parents usually don't get to do, because usually the parents are you have to listen just on the radio, and you'll have that opportunity too. But I'm kind of excited that you actually get to see your kids work in it. Of course, I'd much rather be in person with them, but if we're looking at some silver linings from the pandemic, the fact that parents get to actually see their students producing radio instead of just hear it is kind of a silver lining for me. So let me tell you a little bit about the class. It's a hands-on production course, and that sounds a little weird coming from a pandemic, because right now where I'm recording here at the radio studio, we clearly would get hands-on with the control board and the computer and everything behind me. But because of the pandemic and we're all at home, radio can actually be done at our houses. And I'm going to show you how it's actually done at mine and how your students will be doing it at their house as well.
All right, so here we are at my house now, and as you can see on my screen, we got the same screen at the radio station, because that is exactly the same screen as the radio station. We just remote broadcast from our homes, and your students will have this opportunity as well. Now, I've got myself a microphone and a mixing board here. Your students don't necessarily will have that, but they will have an app on their smartphones, and they'll be able to actually broadcast from their houses.
So while, of course, it's not the exact same as it would be if we were in person, it's relatively close. And like I said before, a very real-world example of what's happening in radio right now, because a lot of radio professionals are indeed broadcasting from their homes. And this is not only something that needs to be done because it's a pandemic, but in my mind, it's actually a very good learning opportunity, because it is what the students would experience if they were working in radio right now. So as you can see, just because we're at home doesn't mean radio production stops. Radio actually continues, because the cool thing about radio is it's heard. So no matter where we record or where we produce our shows, people listening to WLTL or online at WLTL.net really don't have any idea that we're not in the studio. And that's kind of a bonus, if you will. Another silver lining of the pandemic here is that our students are actually getting real life, real world experience, because this is a lot of how radio is being done right now as well. So the course objectives and a little bit about the class: it is a hands-on production course. They will be going live on air. They will be recording things that will play back later on air. There'll be a lot of different things in regards to writing for radio and writing for an audio audience as opposed to a visual audience or a written audience like a newspaper. And all of this will combine throughout the semester to give them all the skills they need to be able to produce things like public service announcements and podcasts, and even their own radio show, which we'll be working towards at the end of the semester. They'll be creating their own radio show that will hopefully air over the holidays. That is the plan at the moment. If you have questions about the class, if you're not already an observer on Canvas, I encourage you to register as an observer on Canvas so you can see your child's work on the website. Also, we'll be sharing a lot of the work as well. The stuff they produce, we don't do this class for fun in theory kind of things. We do this class for fun and actually airing on WLTL and on our website. So not only will you get a chance to watch your son or daughter create the work at home, but you'll get a chance to listen back to it and share it with family and friends too. And that's the same whether we were in person or on remote learning. But they'll really truly get a hands-on experience. They'll also get some experiences that maybe they weren't counting on. Things like blog writing and website posts and social media. Radio used to just be radio and TV used to just be TV, but now they've all melded together, right? You have to really be good at kind of everything in media in order to succeed. So while we're not going to teach video production as part of the radio class, you can take LT TV production here at LT if you're interested in that. We are going to teach things like social media and blog writing and how to connect with your audience that way as well. If you have questions, please reach out to me. I'll put my email on the screen. It is cthomas@lths.net. Again, that is cthomas@lths.net. Due to remote working, email is best way to get in touch with me. If you'd like to have a phone call, I'm more than happy to call you. But I think the best way to get in touch with me with all the remote learning and Zoom classes is to send me an email and then let me know you'd like to have a phone call, and we'll schedule that, and I'll give you a call, or you could give me a call. But this way we won't play phone tag. We'll play email tag before we play phone tag. If you're curious about myself and how I'm teaching this class, this is my 16th year at Lyons Township High School as a teacher. My 20th year overall because I was a student in this program. I never took the radio production class myself, but I took our intro class at South Campus. I took our radio management class here at North, did the radio station as a club for all 4 years, and then went on to college and majored in it at a really tiny school in Iowa called Wartburg College, which most of you have probably not heard of. But Wartburg was still is a great school. It's only about 1,400 students. It's a lot smaller than LT. But I was able to go there and get hands-on right away in media. Also started working on air professionally in Iowa while I was in college. My professional journey outside of teaching, before I got into teaching, took me to on-air jobs at a couple different, actually 3 different stations in Iowa. Took me down to Tucson, Arizona for an internship and a promotions job down at a top 40 radio station there. And finally, before I got out of the professional world of radio and into the world of PR and fundraising and eventually teaching, I was working at ESPN Radio here in Chicago and for the Chicago White Sox radio network at the time, producing White Sox games. I still am involved in media. I host my own radio show that's on 12 different radio stations around the country and Canada called World Pop Radio. So what I'm teaching is not only best practices from what I know to be true from my friends that work in the industry still, but it's best practices from what I use to be true in creating my own radio show and my own radio program. So what we're teaching in this class is truly, honestly, real life hands-on skills that the students are going to be able to apply and put to use every day if they decide to pursue this field as maybe a field of study in college. And if they don't, they're just going to have a good time in the class, and that's okay too. Now, a little bit about the class is grading policies and changes maybe because of the pandemic. So I haven't made a lot of changes because of the pandemic. The biggest thing that we're doing, of course, is we're working with our students to make sure they have the equipment and the skill set necessary to do all these projects at home. And believe it or not, we will MacGyver our way through it. Chances are you already have all the equipment you need in your house. You shouldn't have to buy anything, my guess is, to make this class happen. And I've been working with students to make sure that is true. That's the biggest change we've got. Other than that, we're doing the same projects. We're doing the same activities. It's just a little different feel because we're working from our houses. Now, one of the big things about this class that I'm a big proponent of all my classes, and this class included, is my grading policy that the first time a student does something is not the last time they get to do it. If they want to revise their projects at any time throughout the semester, they are welcome to. In fact, not only are they welcome to, they are encouraged to. Very few times working in radio, unless you're doing live news reporting or doing a live DJ break, is your break live and then that's it. It's done and you never get to do it again. Most of the time it's pre-recorded and you get to let someone listen to it. They evaluate it, give you some feedback, and then you get to do it again. And even with our live DJ breaks, when your students go live on air, yeah, they can't redo that particular break, but they can go live again. This is very much a class where practice makes perfect. And if they are able to do revisions and try it again and again and again, they are going to continue to not only develop more confidence and skills, but they are going to become stronger as radio personalities and writers and producers by that repetition, by just trying it again and again and again. So we really haven't changed much again with the pandemic. We really do encourage people to try and do everything again and do revisions if they can. If there's ever any questions about projects or anything, please have your students reach out to me. Please have you reach out to me. Again, my contact information, if anybody needs it, is cthomas@lths.net. I thank you for watching this video. If you do have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, I really look forward to working with your sons and daughters in this class, and I hope that maybe we'll even get in small groups here or in hybrid learning and get them some hands-on experience too this semester. Again, reach out with questions. Otherwise, it's very nice to virtually meet you, and I hope maybe to meet you sooner rather than later in person sometime around LT.